We back, man. We back with another one, man. I don't know if y'all heard of this one, but this was one of them sick ones, man. I ain't gonna lie. This was one of them ones that I know I'll forever remember. You know what I'm saying? Just based off just the circumstance of the whole situation. We're gonna pay attention, man. See how this shit went down.
You come home after a long day of work. You lock the door behind you, take your shoes off, and place them in the hall closet. Maybe you grab a snack before walking to your room and shut the door, finally alone for the first time in hours. The rest of the night is yours, free to spend time doing whatever you want.
Right now, he's showing I guess video from the dude Stephen recording the girl or using his phone to spy on her in her room and shit. He trying to record through her window.
You look around your room, some dirty clothes on the floor, the window is shut, blinds slightly open, your bed is made, computer sitting softly on your comforter, but something just doesn't feel right. Didn't you leave your computer on the desk? And you swear you put your clothes in the hamper last night before you went to bed. You get that sense, for whatever reason, someone has been in your home and you are being watched. You get a shiver up your spine and feel like somewhere someone's eyes are on you. You look around frantically in your closet, under your bed, out your window, but nothing. Logic and reason tell you that everything is okay, that no one could have come into your home without a key while you were gone, and no one is there. But against all reason, you feel as if someone was there, and someone is watching you right now. What would you do? What could you do? There's no reason to call the cops. There's no proof that anyone is in your home besides you. Do you just sit there? Do you move? Do you buy more protection just in case? This is what Lauren Giddings felt every day in her apartment prior to her murder, and unfortunately, her gut.
And rest in peace to that young woman, Lauren Giddings, too, man.
Feeling wasn't wrong. She often told her friends and family that it felt like someone had been in her apartment when she wasn't there and had gone through her things, and there was someone looking at her when she was alone. But she had no proof. Nothing concrete had occurred that validated her claims. And so she tried her best to brush off the feelings as best she could. She bought extra security measures like a door jammer for her front door to ease her worries. She had pepper spray on her at all times, and she was extra careful, double and triple checking the locked door before she left. But nothing seemed to help. Even with all the added security measures, she continued to feel uneasy in her own domicile. After months of dealing with the unease and stress, Lauren decided she would stay with some friends until she was able to find a permanent residence, one that didn't make her hair stand on end. But she would never be able to move. She would never find a new apartment, and she would never truly be able to feel safe in her home because of her downstairs neighbor, Stephen McDaniel. Welcome to Dreading. Today we're going to be going over the death of Lauren Giddings and how her neighbor, Stephen McDaniel's obsession with her led to her murder. What's odd about this case is how little information there is about Stephen prior to his crime. However, despite how little background is available, there is still enough to put together as to why this happened and how Stephen, even before...
Hey, they come on here, you. Hey, every day I come on live, you come on here claiming a different neighborhood.
Before he had met Lauren, as previously mentioned, finding information about Stephen prior to the murder is hard to do. Stephen was, by his own admission, a recluse, choosing not to socialize with his peers in any meaningful way. Whether this be because of fear of social ostracization or general nervousness is unknown. The only accounts that exist that document Stephen's life prior to his crimes is his online post history, where he went by the name SOL, or Son of Liberty, and his mother, Glenda McDaniel. Glenda speaks of Stephen as being the model son, incredibly intelligent, dedicated, and steadfast in his beliefs. Glenda raised both Stephen and his older sister in the church, taking them to Mass every Sunday and encouraging them to take up church-centric activities. This led to Stephen, at the age of 8, being featured in a church play as King Josiah, despite his social anxieties. He also sang in the choir and regularly participated in church mission work, that in which he would fix up run-down, dilapidated churches throughout the state. He was incredibly tidy and well-kept, in a way that bordered on...
Hey, if you can hear the TV, give me a thumbs up if you can hear the TV.
An obsessive-compulsive. Everything in his life had a place, and if something was out of it, he wouldn't be able to focus clearly. Glenda, in talking to the Macon Telegraph, noted how this trait seemed to materialize in Stephen after the 9/11 attack, which happened when Stephen would have been 16. It was always something he was concerned about, Glenda McDaniel says. If there was another attack on U.S. soil, he wanted to be prepared. He had read up on what things would be concerns if something like that happened, such as contamination of the water source. So he had lots of soft drink bottles in his apartment, that when they were empty, he would fill them up with water and stack them neatly under his kitchen sink.
Right now, he explaining to y'all a little bit of history on the dude, Stephen McDaniel, giving y'all a little bit of his backstory.
Began stockpiling supplies and posting on websites dedicated to survivalism, certain that eventually there would be another attack on U.S. soil. If that were to occur, which he was sure it would, he would have supplies to last him for months, if not years. But it wasn't just food and water he was worried about. Stephen was well aware.
This guy also worked in the courthouse too. He was a courthouse clergy or something like that. So him and this young woman worked in the courthouse together. They were both law students, trying to be lawyers.
That if there was another attack, say an atomic bomb or an air raid of some kind, he would need to protect himself when people inevitably came for him. This fear led Stephen to purchasing multiple weapons, including 3 guns, a collection of knives and swords. He enjoyed reading and watching movies, like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, but on the whole, he didn't get along with any fan communities for any of those works. He was incredibly interested in fantasy stories, particularly those that took place in medieval times. And throughout high school and for a bit in college, he wore chainmail into class, believing it would protect him from any danger that would come his way, later comparing it to a bulletproof vest that he would also consider buying, just in case. His theory about the chainmail proved unsuccessful, because in a post made under the SOL moniker online, Stephen would talk about how he had been bullied and picked on in high school for wearing it, along with a leather jacket, refusing to cut his hair for 4 years, and more. In one post detailing the harassment he received, he wrote about how a jock had picked on him and Stephen had stood up for himself by stabbing said jock in the wrist and in the face with a pen. Despite the damage that this would no doubt inflict on the other party, and the fact that this would have happened in front of people, Stephen stated that no teachers or administrators saw the attack, and so he was not punished. The statement does not comply with his high school records, and no attack like this was reported at his high school at any point, which leads us.
So he's dreaming about him attacking people that picked on him. Or he's coming up with false stories about him attacking and stabbing people that bully him in high school, shit that never happened. But he's writing this down in some type of memoir like it happened.
To believe that the story was more or less made up in order to appear, quote unquote, cool online. Through posts like this on various accounts, all under the same SOL moniker, a clearer image of Stephen would appear. An image of a man who loved violence, murder, horror movies, and guns. A man who thought the end of the world was coming and gave a good amount of time and thought to purchasing a bulletproof vest in case there was an invasion, revolution, or war. A man who held a fair amount of contempt for his family, calling his sister a waste of space, and criticizing his mother for her intense spirituality. But he was also a man who was incredibly lonely. Despite his mother telling reporters that he was well liked and he had many friends, his posts on different weapons boards painted a very different picture. On a board meant to discuss weapons for military types and enthusiasts, Stephen posted an ad looking for volunteers to help him with a law school assignment. His post requesting volunteers to come help him for his project read, "There are plenty of law students that I could probably get to come and be jurors, even without the offer of free food. The problem is that the professor explicitly stated that we cannot have law students as jurors. I've kept such poor contact with the few people I knew in undergrad that I probably couldn't reach them if I tried. This is the problem of being a social recluse. My level of human contact is negligible. Most of the time, that suits me well, because that's what my personality is like. This is one of those instances where it creates problems." This wouldn't be the last time that Stephen spoke of being a social recluse and how that affected his life. In February 2010, he posted this to another forum. "The problem with being a social recluse with a fundamental disability to connect on a romantic level is that we want so much to find that one special person with whom we want to grow old with, raise children with, spend the rest of our lives with, and yet we're incapable of going out and finding her." He then posted a link to the Seether song, Broken, and continued, "Makes me think of a person who has found that special person and wants to protect her against any pain she could ever feel, who is willing to endure any hardship to keep it from her, willing to fight against anything that would hurt her, but who can't because he's so mentally broken that he can't tell her how he feels and can only watch from a distance."
Yeah, it seems like this guy was like having real like mental depression issues early on. Like while he was in high school, while he was in law school, it seemed like he was mentally depressed because he couldn't. It's like he didn't really have no friends like that, and he didn't really have no girl, and he felt like he was incapable of going out and getting a girl.
Stephen's darker interests, social isolation, and longing for a girlfriend made him a powder keg. His anger was bubbling up, and with more and more posts talking about enacting violence on others he deemed worthy, trying to force girls into relationships, and commenting on the best and most effective ways to subdue women. As time went on, his anger only mounted. His worries about the coming revolution got worse, and suddenly, after meeting his beautiful neighbor, he decided he would make his fantasies a reality. Lauren Giddings was by all means the exact opposite of Stephen.
Now you finna go a little bit to the backstory of the victim. You know what I'm saying?
Where Stephen was shy and reclusive, Lauren was outgoing and bright, making friends with people everywhere she went. Her friends described how Lauren's smile would light up any room she was in, and how she just seemed to draw people to her with her radiant energy. She was a staple of every community she was in, and when she moved to Macon, Georgia, for college, she quickly became a part of that community too. She attended church daily, joined the Hash House Harriers, a nonprofit running club. She donated her time to people in need, and she even organized monthly dinners for her and a group of close friends to fight off any homesickness and make sure everyone around her knew they were loved and cared for. She joined multiple clubs on campus as well, always finding more time to do what she was interested in. And in her last year of college, she became the president of Mercer's Federalist Society. Because of her blonde hair, big smile, and the fact that she had spent the last 7 years working on a law degree, people in her life saw her as the real-life Elle Woods, a positive force that would be working in the criminal justice system. To this day, there is not one account of her online that is anything less than sparkling. Everyone who met her loved her, and unfortunately, she had met Stephen. Stephen and Lauren were neighbors, with them sharing a small staircase and balcony right across the street from the Mercer University, where they both had gone to study criminal law. They moved in a week apart, and as Lauren always did, she immediately made
Both of her and him went to Mercer University to study criminal law. They went to law school together.
her mark with all of her new neighbors, but no one more than Stephen. Around this time, Stephen had been posting about his isolation and loneliness on various platforms, and Lauren, almost on cue, showed up and moved in next door. She would go out of her way to acknowledge him when they saw each other, saying hi when he was coming up the stairs as she was leaving, encouraging him to go out more and just getting to know him. For her, it was nothing more than a pleasant interaction, something she did for everyone, but for him, it meant the world. Stephen was used to his self-imposed isolation. He was used to people thinking his chain mail was weird, and relied on that to keep people at a comfortable distance. He spent most of his nights at home and purposely shut down any notions of making long-term friends with his antics. And for the most part, it worked. People purposely avoided him, and he liked it that way. But Lauren was different. She refused to let his quirks get in the way of her being kind, and she refused to judge him for his interests. While none of Lauren's friends believed that she had been at all close to Stephen, or that she would call herself his friend, as it was just her nature to be kind, her general kindness towards him led to Stephen becoming enamored with her. He had never had anyone, let alone a beautiful, charismatic girl, show interest in him, and as time went on, his feelings continued to grow. When Lauren encouraged him to go out more and spend more time on campus, he signed up for the Federalist Club with her, and when she became president, he opted to be the vice president. When she encouraged him to get out of his comfort zone and engage with people more, McDaniel would try to do as much. And when she invited him to a graduation party at a bar, 2 nights before they were set to graduate, he went, only to spend the entire night alone playing darts in the back. Lauren herself thought Stephen was just a nice guy who was just passionate about other things people deemed weird. Her friends worried, openly warning her that he was potentially dangerous. While they couldn't truly know the extent of how dangerous Stephen was, his love of weapons, collection of knives and swords, and his fear of a coming up.
Man, it seemed like she was just trying to be a nice person, man. She was just trying to get him, you know what I'm saying? She probably seen him, he wasn't, you know what I'm saying, socially, active or whatever. And she was just trying to get him outside more, you know what I'm saying, be a good friend, you know what I'm saying. The whole time in his head, he was trying to get close to her and like try to, you know what I'm saying, like do what he can to get close to her.
Apocalypse put most who met him on edge. In one instance, her sister Caitlin recalled someone telling Lauren to watch herself with him because he seemed odd, and they were concerned, only for Lauren to laugh at the idea. She thought the idea of him posing any sort of threat was ridiculous, and later responded saying, "Well, if he is dangerous, I'd be the only one who's safe," because she was the only person who was nice to him. With every interaction,
Damn.
Stephen's feelings for Lauren grew. He started...
That's crazy. She said if he is dangerous, then I'll be the only one who's safe. Because she knew she was so nice to him that he wouldn't want to do nothing to her. And that's crazy. He the one who did something to her.
believed that every time she spoke to him, every time she showed him any kindness at all, she was displaying her feelings towards him. After a short while, he asked her out on a date, which she politely rebuffed, reminding him that she already had a boyfriend, a man 20 years their senior. Despite this rejection, Stephen continued to pursue her, asking her out every now and again, to which she would always politely decline. Her rejections did little to actually sway him, and if anything, made his feelings towards her stronger. Her name began popping up in his internet searches, and while looking at her Twitter account in the morning, he proceeded to Google nude Lauren Giddings. Directly after, he also searched for the phrase, molest sleeping girl. This type of internet stalking would continue, with him looking at her Facebook and Twitter accounts, whilst simultaneously looking at violent pornography and Googling things like choked unconscious, how long wake up. As time went on, Stephen, convinced that they would actually be together in a more real way, stole a master key from their landlord, gaining the ability to enter Lauren's apartment at any time, day or night. He was also able to get a duplicate of her singular door lock in case anything were to happen to the master. As her next door neighbor and a friendly acquaintance, he became well aware of her schedule. He started to note down when she would be away, when she would be in class, and what time she would come back, when she was working, and more, taking special care to learn her regular routine. When she would leave her apartment, he would break in using the keys, skulking around in her domicile for unknown lengths of time. Stephen himself would go on to say he didn't do anything of note in there, and in fact rarely went in there at all. However, upon his arrest, it was found that he did have various articles of clothing from Lauren in his house, including a pair of underwear that she would not have willingly given. After an unknown amount of time, Stephen would leave, going back to his own apartment with any of the items he decided to take, leaving very little trace that he had ever been there. However, what he did leave behind was a bad feeling. Almost immediately, Lauren knew something was wrong. She spoke to her sisters and friends about feeling like someone had been in her apartment when she was away and had touched her things. Every time she spoke about this with her friends and family, she seemed sure that something had happened when she was away, but noted that she didn't have any evidence and she didn't appear to be missing anything of value. It was the little things, like thinking she had placed her bills on the counter in the kitchen only to find them in the living room, or thinking that she had put her dirty laundry in the hamper only to find some of her clothing on the floor next to it. It felt like every time she came home, something was amiss. Most of her friends placated her, telling her that it was most likely nothing, and she was probably being paranoid. What person breaks into an apartment and doesn't take anything, right? But still, they urged her to get other means of security just in case. The weekend of June 24th, Lauren had done just that, getting a sturdy door jammer for the front door of her apartment. She had told her friends and family that for the remainder of June till late July, she would be spending most of her time studying for the bar exam, as she was determined to pass and become a public defender as soon as possible. She informed them that she wouldn't be available to hang out or spend any significant...
She wanted to be a public defender, you know what I'm saying? That's how you know she was just a nice person.
time with them, as she would be studying for the entire month, and if they needed her, they could always reach her by phone. However, Lauren wouldn't make it to her exam. On the night of Saturday, June 25th, Lauren, after a day of studying and relaxing, wrote an email to her boyfriend at 10:30 p.m. In the email, she described how she needed to start packing, as the lease for her apartment would be up in a week. She talked avidly about how she loved Macon and going to Mercer, but she was excited for what the future held for her, and for them. She also mentioned briefly that she suspected once more that someone had tried to gain access to her apartment and tried to break in, but had no proof. After she sent this email, she got ready for bed, putting the door stopper against her front door, checking the lock, and laying down, content with the work she had done that day. Next door, Stephen was wide awake. Though he hasn't directly stated why he felt the need to act that night, Stephen did state that he was well aware of Lauren's approaching move. Within a week, she would be out of his life forever, and he would no longer be able to see her every day. His access to her and her space would be ripped away from him, and he had no way of ensuring that that didn't happen. Stephen at first tried to break into her apartment using the key he had, only to find that something was in the way of the door. Frustrated, Stephen went back to his apartment and taped his camera onto a broom, went back outside, downstairs into the back of the building, and filmed this clip, trying to see what was keeping her front door from being opened. After seeing she had gotten a door jammer, Stephen retreated back to his apartment, where he Googled how to break into someone's house when they had a door jamming.
What the fuck? He tried to get in her place, and he couldn't get in. And he went outside to go peek in her window to see what was stopping him from getting in. And then he went and looked up how to break in with whatever she had, a door jammer. How to break in with a door jammer. This is a sick motherfucker, man.
Burglar bar. Unfortunately, that Google search gave him the results he wanted, and at 4:30 a.m., he was able to get into her apartment. Wearing gloves and a mask, he entered into her bedroom and watched her sleep for a good amount of time. He began to move closer when Lauren woke up. Lauren saw him and immediately understood what was happening. She told him to get the fuck out, at which point Stephen snapped. He lunged across the room at her, pinning her down, but she fought back, pushing him off of her and tumbling out of bed. The two continued to struggle until finally, with some of her body pushed under her own bed, he started to strangle her. Lauren grabbed at him, trying to fight back and stop him, and eventually was able to get the mask off his face. She recognized him immediately and asked him to stop, but he continued until he was sure she was dead. He then moved her body into the bathtub and left the apartment, going back to his home and spending the rest of the day on his computer. The next day, he went back to Lauren's apartment around midnight, armed with a hacksaw that he had taken from a maintenance closet from their apartment building. He then proceeded to cut up her body, removing her head and limbs, wrapping them in several black trash bags, and discarding them in various dumpsters and trash cans around the area. He cut up his mask, gloves, and everything he had been wearing at the time of the attack, and flushed them down the toilet. He then wrapped her torso in a black plastic trash bag, and on the following Tuesday, placed that in a trash can in front of his apartment. After that, he set about cleaning her apartment to make it appear as if nothing had happened. Throughout this time, Lauren's friends and family had begun to worry about her. It had been 4 days since anyone had properly heard from her, and though she had told them she was going to be studying for the bar exam and wouldn't be available to talk anytime soon, they knew that there was no way she would go that long without talking to anyone. Her friend, Katie O'Hare, was the first to grow concerned when Lauren didn't respond to a text she sent. She then tried to call Lauren, only to be immediately sent to voicemail, indicating her phone was off, which was completely out of character for Lauren. O'Hare got into contact with more of Lauren's friends and relatives, and people quickly became concerned. They compared notes and realized it had been 4 whole days since they had spoken to Lauren directly, and immediately she was reported missing. A group of her friends hurried to her apartment to see if, beyond all odds, she was just there and all right, but choosing not to respond to anyone. They knocked on the door, calling into the apartment to see if anyone was inside, and almost at once, McDaniel came out of his own apartment looking tired and disheveled. He asked the group why they were there and why they were calling for Lauren, and the group explained to him the situation and asked him if he'd seen Lauren in the past 4 days, to which he said no. Feigning concern, Stephen joined the group, and after one friend found a spare key that Lauren had hidden, entered the apartment, looking for any sign of Lauren. The cops were quickly called, with Lauren reported missing almost immediately, but in the apartment there were no signs of the struggle that had occurred, and no signs of the horrific dismemberment that had occurred in the bathroom. Lauren's keys, purse, and cell phone were still in the home, so they knew she couldn't have gone far. Wherever she was, she probably wasn't there willingly. The search continued through the night, with the cops expanding the search radius past her apartment and into the surrounding areas. The cops talked to all of Lauren's neighbors, asking them if they would consent for their homes to be searched, mostly as a formality, and all agreed, except Stephen, in his infatuation with Lauren, as when she was reported missing, Lauren's uncle told the police that she had a creepy neighbor who they believed was obsessed with her. Stephen told the police that he was unsure if he felt comfortable with letting him into his apartment without a warrant, and refused to grant them entrance. Stephen did consent to his first recorded interview with police officer David Patterson, going over the last time he had seen Lauren, what his relationship was with her, and more. After the interview, while making his way back to Lauren's apartment to continue the search, Patterson smelled something emanating from the trash can on the street, in front of the apartment buildings. The trash was meant to be picked up early that day, but hadn't been able to, due to the police presence. It was in that trash can that officers found the only remains of Lauren they were able to identify at the time, her torso. The discovery of her body immediately changed the course of the investigation. Before, they were under the impression that Lauren was just missing. They had hoped that she had possibly taken some time away without telling anyone and would come home. But upon the gruesome discovery, they realized something much darker was at play. They opted to try to keep the discovery quiet and asked to speak to Stephen more thoroughly at the police department. McDaniel consented and went with them, answering their questions with relative ease, under the assumption still that no body had or ever would be found. Once they were done, the officers gave him a ride back to his apartment, where they asked once more if he'd be willing to consent to a search. Stephen bristled once more, saying he was uncomfortable. Upon hearing that every single one of his other neighbors had consented to the search, save for him, he realized how guilty it made him look. He then stated that the cops could go in, but only if he was present. The walkthrough was odd according to the police, given how talkative McDaniel was. As they combed through his bottles of water stacked below his sink in case of the apocalypse, his extensive knife and sword collection, and his computers, Stephen spoke openly about all of them, addressing why he thought each was necessary. He also asserted that he was a virgin and was waiting until marriage to have sex, which the officers found odd but not important. After the search, the police reconvened outside of Lauren's apartment as Stephen walked across the street towards Mercer College. There, the media had already set up, getting wind of the situation and wanting to help in the search. A reporter for WGXA TV News saw Stephen exiting his apartment with the police and stopped him, hoping to ask him a few questions, and Stephen consented. Here's the interview.
And no one's heard from her since.
Did you see her hang out with anyone at the time or anything like that?
No one has seen her since Saturday. I haven't seen anything. I've always seen noise outside, but it's just people walking by pretty much.
And she just recently graduated from Mercer?
Yeah, she and I we were both JD students. We graduated back in May.
What kind of person was she? I mean, what did you see her?
She's as nice as can be.
This man on the news saying all this shit, bro. She the nicest can be. She just graduated. You saying all that shit knowing you just killed this girl. And you just did all that sick ass shit. But she nice as can be, just graduated and all that shit. And you on the news talking about this shit.
Very personable, very much a people person.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we don't know where she is. The only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her.
He sound weird even saying that. Maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. Why would you even say that? Why wouldn't you say maybe she went somewhere and she just trying to clear her head because she just graduated college? Why won't you say that? Why are you trying to put that narrative out there that she just gone? It's something that's, she gone and it's something, it's foul play. You put the foul play out there. You know what I'm saying? So.
Because we went over. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. The door was locked when everyone got here. We just don't know where she is.
In the interview, Stephen was made aware of the fact that her body, or part of it, had been found. Up to this point, Stephen had been more or less confident in the fact that he could and would be getting away with his crime, because there was no evidence a crime had been committed and no evidence that it had happened anywhere near him. While he didn't want to let the cops search his apartment, he eventually allowed it, feeling as if there was absolutely nothing to be found, for he had already disposed of all the evidence. He had confidently answered all the cops' questions, watched them go through his entire apartment, and thought he had properly eliminated himself from the suspect list. He goes as far as to state in the interview that he believes whatever happened to Lauren happened far away from the apartment, because it's inconceivable that it would have happened there. Stephen believed that everything had been accounted for at that time. The trash had been picked up early in the morning, every part of her dismembered body had been carried away, he was in the clear. But the moment he found out that the trash had been discovered, her body was found in a trash can that was in front of his own apartment, is the moment he breaks.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they have recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you heard anything? Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? I mean, we don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's why we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
After he takes a
What the hell? They told that man they found the body, and he say, a body? I think I need to sit down. And he go sit down, and he just started crying or something. He know it's a wrap for him.
moment to realize what has happened. The interview continues.
You've been studying for the bar?
Yeah, no one had seen her since Saturday because we all just, there's not a whole lot of interaction unless we're doing classes.
Right.
And she was doing the online version of it.
You all studied together, though?
We were in, there's two different people, there's two companies that provide it. Kaplan provides it and Barbary provides it. I signed up with Barbary and I've been doing the lectures that they have in the mornings. She was doing the Kaplan online, so I hardly ever saw her. I mean, I would see her like go out running, but I mean...
What time would you go out running?
I don't even know when.
At night or morning?
I saw her like midday a couple weeks ago. I mean, that was the last time I saw her, was coming back from the bar prep on the main campus because we got moved over there for a week or two.
But she normally would run. That was the
yeah,
routine
right. She ran all the time. I mean, she had a group that she would go running with. I mean, I don't know anyone that would want to hurt her. She was as nice a person as there is.
Damn, this motherfucker is sick, man. He a sick motherfucker, man.
Was she moving soon? Did you know anything about her?
Yeah, she was going to be moving out today. She was supposed to move out today because someone else was going to be moving into her apartment in Law School.
You know, she was like, where is she from? Is she from Maryland?
Yeah, she's from up in Maryland.
Can I just put this on you so we're getting there yet? Is that all right?
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, you can just hold on there. Thank you. Yeah, she's from Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, she was from up in Maryland. I mean, all her family was there, as far as I know. I mean, she...
What's going on in your mind right now? Like, what are you thinking?
Why would anyone do this?
Did you hear anything?
No.
I
heard something. Maybe I could have helped it.
Okay, don't worry. Do you want to sit down for a second? Got something to drink? You know, a bunch of her friends are getting together or anything?
I mean, that's how I found out that she was missing. A bunch of her friends came over yesterday night around midnight, and they hadn't seen her since Saturday, so they were trying to find out where she was.
They were knocking on neighbors' doors and stuff?
They went in, they had a key to her apartment, and they checked around, didn't see anything out of place. I mean, it was locked when everyone got there.
That was midnight?
Yeah, around midnight, and then we went over to law school, see if maybe she was over in the library studying or something. And we looked up in the study rooms on the third floor, and there was no one there. And we came back, we looked around, and just tried to find anything to figure out where she was.
Does it have any family in Georgia?
I don't know. As far as I know, all of her family's from in Maryland.
Have you met her family before?
There was one time that I met them. They came down first year. She had a little dog, a little brown dog, that she would exercise out in front of the law school, and it got hit as she was coming across the road. I heard the car hit it and ran out, and she was there crying, and thankfully there was someone who came along who knew a vet or something, and they helped that, and her family came down, I think a couple weeks after that or something. I met them just briefly, but
Their boyfriend or
we've been trying to figure out. She has a boyfriend up in Atlanta, but someone called him, and he hadn't heard from her.
You seem to know a whole lot about her, though. I mean, I guess they was friends, kind of. I guess. I mean, she was nice to him. She invited him to join certain clubs she was in. You could say they was kind of friends a little bit.
No one could figure out where she was.
Who was the last person they with her? You said that somebody seen her on Saturday?
Yeah, she went over to a couple friends' house, Gary Mueller and Joe Cairns. They live over on Walnut, and they said that she was over there in the morning, and then that was the last time that anyone we've been able to find out from had seen her.
She hadn't mentioned what she was going to do that day or anything?
Joe, he got onto her computer last night to see if she had said anything. She'd sent an email out to some people that afternoon talking about like going out to eat or something. And the last thing that there was an email that she sent out after 10 that night where she sent to, I think it was someone in Atlanta, a friend of hers in Atlanta, and she said that she was afraid in her apartment that she thought someone had tried to break in on Thursday night, and she was afraid to stay in there. But
where did you hear that from Joe?
Now he pulled it up and we read it off the screen.
And she had said that to a friend in Atlanta?
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but...
And you hadn't heard anything on Thursday night?
No.
She never came to you to tell you anything?
No, if she had, I could have done something. I could have lent her a handgun. I've got a little handgun that I have for defense. And
she said it slept over or something?
Yeah, something. If she was afraid in her apartment, then, get her out of there.
Is that how to break in?
That's what she said in the email. She thought that someone had tried to break into her apartment. She said, like, Macon hoodlums tried to break into my apartment on Thursday night.
Is that her car parked there? The Chevy?
No. No, I think that's the detective's car, Detective Patterson.
Not even there?
No, it was here earlier, and they towed it. It'd been there for days, and then they towed it to, I guess, look through, see if there was... Yeah.
How did you find out that something was wrong with the police here? Was it like when you walked up a little while ago, or...?
No, the police were called last night, and they came... And they looked around, they didn't see anything. They went in, we looked around the place. There's no sign of a struggle, no sign that anyone had broken in, just nothing. Just she was gone. All of her stuff was there, her ID was there, her wallet was there, but she was just gone.
Did you just come home and see the police here?
No, I was here this morning. I couldn't hardly sleep. I was up until early hours, and then I got home and I just collapsed. And then this morning they knocked on my door. They were looking around trying to find anything, and a few of the other friends, Burpee and Garen and Ashley, they were here. They were here last night, and they'd come back this morning. And I just went out and talked with them, and And then they moved us all over to the side and they bussed us all down to the department and kept us there until I got back to us a little while ago. And, yeah, they took statements trying to find out if anyone had seen anything, if anyone had heard anything when the last time anyone saw it was.
Now, they haven't confirmed, at least not with us, that it was Lauren that they found. Are you holding out any hope right now?
I hope, but if they found it on the property somewhere.
You hadn't heard anything about a body until you were talking to us?
No. No, as far as any of us knew, they were still trying to just find her. I mean, we got an email this morning from some people that live on the other side of Kroger, on the other side of the river, that they had seen her in the past running in that area. We thought maybe someone had snatched her over there, or maybe she got hurt or something.
After the discovery of the body, McDaniel's changed. His entire demeanor, how he responded to the situation, took a complete 180. But before we address that, and the now infamous police interview, we need to address one of his earlier online posts. To this day, even after his written and signed confession, Stephen swears that everything that happened wasn't planned. It was a spur-of-the-moment attack. He had never intended to hurt Lauren, and sometimes he even argued that he was framed by the police. However, given the intense details, his repeated searches regarding Lauren, and his enjoyment of violent pornography, it's clear to see that this was more methodical than he will admit. In some of his online posts, he would talk about wanting to choke out the women he was attracted to and get intimate with them when they were unconscious. He discussed how to best knock women out, be it through drugs or physical means. And in one post, he even discussed what he would do if he were to carry out an act of violence against another person, resulting in their death. The post is incredibly in line with his actions after the discovery of the body and his realization that he will be found out for his crimes, as you will see. In response to a post about the Westboro Baptist Church protesting the funeral of a fallen U.S. soldier, Stephen wrote this: "I'd go outside, grab my kid out of my car, pop in a fresh mag, and proceed to slaughter the entire bigoted group, never once doing so much as uttering a sound. When they were all dead, and they do need to all be dead, I'd sit down on the ground with my gun several paces away from me and just rock back and forth on the ground, eyes wide and blank. Afterwards, I'd remain in this state for at least a day. No talking, no communication, blank, unfocused stares. I do not fall asleep either. Eventually, when some new stimulus is introduced, a family member I haven't seen or a picture of my brother, something like that, I shake my head from side to side, blink rapidly, and look around in a panicked manner, asking where I am and what's going on. If my family is okay, why I'm there, and when they ask, I'd say I had no memory of anything that happened after I arrived at the service. They'll probably initiate charges, at which point the family will need to get a lawyer to argue that I had no knowledge of my actions and was not acting on my own volition when I acted. Keep the story consistent, and whenever I'm asked about what happened, I look down and put a sad look on my face, relating what I was told happened, as I have no memory of it. I might end up institutionalized for a while, so they can try to figure out what caused the blackout, and they may take my guns away from me as well as the ability to purchase more. But if I stuck to the story, it's doubtful I'll end up in prison. Of course, this is all hypothetical. Because reporting on this case is so sparse,
He actually put his whole plan of what he was gonna do online.
outside of his odd behavior in the police interview, people are usually of the opinion that his actions and behavior in said interview come from a genuine place, that he had some sort of mental or emotional breakdown or lapse of consciousness. However, this post, written in 2010, a year before Lauren's murder, clearly indicate that if he were ever to enact violence on someone resulting in their death, he would purposely present himself in a way that he believed would cause him to be institutionalized. He had planned down to his demeanor and when he would be brought back, so to speak, so that a judge and jury would find him too incompetent to stand trial. And immediately after this television interview, McDaniel decided to put his plan into action. After Stephen had reacted so incredibly in front of the cameras, the police retrieved him, taking him inside their mobile command center, hoping to calm him down and speak to him a bit more. Sensing that something was off, they asked once more if Stephen would consent to having them search his apartment again, to which Stephen agreed. When he learned that they had planned to utilize cadaver dogs in the search, Stephen expressed concern that he might have stepped in something and tracked it back in the apartment at some point. Before entering Stephen's apartment, the dogs alerted outside, letting the police know that McDaniel had come into contact with something that had died. However, they didn't just alert there. They also alerted to the laundry room of the apartment complex, and more specifically, the maintenance closet in the laundry room. There they found a hacksaw, which appeared to have blood on it, that was later confirmed to be Lauren's. The police once again entered McDaniel's apartment, this time with a clearer idea of what they were looking for. Upon entering again, they found the key to Lauren's apartment, the master key to the entire apartment building, and the packaging for the hacksaw that they found in the maintenance closet. They also found condoms in the apartment, condoms they knew Stephen had not been using, given that he had told them he was a virgin and was planning to save himself for marriage. The police confronted McDaniel with this information, asking him why he would have even bought these condoms, at which point Stephen admitted to breaking into other people's apartments when they were away, and taking the condoms as a trophy. It was then that the cops arrested him, not for the murder of Lauren, but for the burglary. Within the day, they fully expected that they had the murderer in their sights, given Stephen's strange behavior, the hacksaw packaging, and the keys he had to her apartment, but it wasn't enough to conclusively book him. They wanted to make sure that they had their ducks in a row, and so while they got a search warrant for his apartment and his possessions, they took him down to the police station, booked him, and interrogated him. This footage is infamous due to Stephen's subdued and robotic nature. Stephen was able to maintain the appearance of an emotionless man on the verge of a breakdown in a way that most had never seen, and most people wondered if this was an act or if he was sincerely not well. However, given his post history and his assertion that if he were ever arrested, he would act this way, it's clear to see that this was an act.
All right. I just gotta ask you a few more questions.
This is his interrogation. The dude who's on the news saying, "Oh, why would anybody do that to her? She was a nice person and all that." This is a police interrogation of him.
You came down earlier tonight. Me and you talked. All right. You don't have any weapons on you, do you?
No.
That's just you are. What's wrong? You know I'm Detective Patterson, right?
Yes.
Do you remember? Put your hands up here. You remember us talking earlier tonight, right?
Yes.
You remember me earlier in the day?
Yes.
When we came down here and talked a little bit and then we left?
Yes.
Okay. I need to know about this girl right here. You know her?
Yes.
Who is that?
Lauren Giddings.
Does she live next door to you?
Yes.
When's the last time you seen her?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Was you friends with Lauren?
Yes.
Look at me when you talk to me, son. Okay? Was you friends with her?
Yes.
Close friends?
We were good.
I mean, y'all were friends, right? Both of y'all are law students. You're studying to be an attorney, right?
Yes.
What kind of law do you want to go into? Criminal law?
Yes.
Civil? Is that what you want to do for a living?
Yes.
Okay. Are you almost finished?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't have too much more to do, right?
No.
All right. Are you going to still stay here in Macon?
I don't know.
Did you used to work at the district attorney's office in Macon?
Yes.
Was you on the prosecutor side or the defense side?
Prosecutor.
So you were on our side.
Yes.
Right. You never worked on the other side?
No.
What that mean though? Because he was on the prosecution side, he was on the law side. I thought it was innocent until proven guilty. Shit fucked up, man. That's the police saying, "Was you for the prosecutor or the defense?" He said prosecution. He said, "Okay, so you were on our side."
Did you like it when you were down there?
Yes.
Got along with everybody?
Yes.
Okay. And you've lived next to Lauren for a long time?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where she's at tonight?
No.
Hmm?
No.
Have you ever seen her with that dress on?
No.
You have no idea where she's at?
No.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I'll make it up. Okay. Look, just tell me what happened, brother.
I don't know.
Well, where's she at? I'm asking you for your help. I'm a detective, and I'm asking you for your help. Okay? I'm asking you for help. I need your help. Can you help me?
I don't know.
You don't know if you can help me?
Yes.
I need your help. Help me out. Tell me what to do. Has anybody asked you for help today? I'm asking you as a friend for help. Can you help me?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You can't help a friend out?
I don't know what you need.
I need to know where Lauren's at.
I don't know.
When's the last time you seen her?
2 or 3 weeks ago.
Have you ever seen anybody over at her house the last couple nights?
No.
Okay. If you knew where she was, would you tell me?
Yes.
What do you think happened to her?
I don't know.
Do you care about it?
Yes.
How do you?
Yes.
Do you have a friend?
No.
Do you have a girlfriend?
No.
You said you didn't have any other cars, right?
Right.
Well, why would everybody you went to school with for the last 3 and 4 years said that you own another car other than that Geo Prism? Everybody I've talked to, all your friends you were in school with, people that you worked at the district attorney's office with said you have other cars other than that car. And you're gonna sit here today and tell me you don't have another car?
I don't.
Well, where's it at?
I don't have one.
You never had another car besides that Geo Prism.
No.
So if I call your granddaddy, he's gonna tell me that you only have one car.
Yes.
What's his phone number?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do, because I already have his number. You don't know his phone number?
No.
I mean, you seriously can't help us out?
His number's in my cell phone.
That's a start. Where's your cell phone?
At the apartment.
In your apartment? I mean, it's kind of late to be calling him. Does he stay up late?
I don't know.
Do you have a grandmother or is it just him?
My grandmother passed away.
A while back?
Yes.
But you're close to your grandfather, right?
Yes.
I mean, doesn't he own some property or something, he said? A couple of acres?
My granddaddy or my grandfather.
Who lives in Pike County?
My granddaddy.
Does he own any land down there?
Yes.
Okay. And just sometimes you go down there to visit him or something?
Last time we met, I went down and visited with my aunt and uncle.
Okay. What did he do for a living? Was he an attorney like you?
He worked for the Southern Railroad Company.
Is anybody in your family an attorney?
No.
You're the only one that went through law school?
Yes.
Well, that's an accomplishment, don't you think?
Yes.
I mean, it took a long time, right?
Yes.
A lot of studying. I think you told me earlier you were from up in Atlanta, or did you live in Atlanta or Griffin or something like that?
Lilburn.
You don't have any family left up there?
Yes.
Well, who lives up there?
My parents.
Okay. Any brothers or sisters?
My sister lives in Tucker.
Georgia?
Yes.
What's up with the pair of underwear that was in your apartment? That was like a mask. It was cut out like a mask. You cut underwear out that looked like a mask?
No.
How many guns did you have in your apartment?
3.
What are they? Do you know what they are?
A rifle.
What kind of rifle did you have?
An AK semi-automatic.
Where'd you buy it from?
Classic Arms.
Is that Atlanta or something?
Online.
Okay. What kind of pistols do you own?
EAA Witness. Full size and compact.
Okay. What about the one that was on the bed?
That's the full size.
That's the full size one. What was the other one?
The compact.
Where was that at?
On the table by the bed.
Yeah. Remember I was in there?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had that samurai sword.
Yes.
That's just that's not, is it an expensive sword or is it just a
No.
knockoff? It's just one of the knockoff swords?
Yes.
And what about the knife?
Which knife?
The one that was, remember you showed me it was dull?
Yes.
What kind of knife is that? Because I don't know.
Kukri.
Where do you get something like that online?
I bought it from a friend.
Did you have any other knives in the house
Yes.
that I didn't see? Because you didn't show me no other knives. That's the only ones you showed me. What other knives did I miss?
There's a pocket knife that's on the table.
Are you a knife collector or a knife person, or
No.
you just like knives?
I used to collect swords.
I mean, do you know your swords?
Yes.
I mean, to sell and trade swords?
No.
But you just bought here and there?
Yes.
But you wouldn't consider yourself like a sword expert?
No.
Okay. Because, you know, they have that TV show where they sell stuff, you know, at night on
Yes.
TV, but I don't know what it's called, the knife shop or something like that. Have you ever seen what I'm talking about? I don't know if you got
Yes.
cable TV or not. All right. You know, tonight we're still looking for Lauren. You know any of these other girls in this picture?
I know that she goes to the law school, but I can't remember her name.
So she's studying to be an attorney too?
Yes.
Okay. Is that how Lauren looked with the long hair the last time you seen her?
Yes.
Or that's how she looks?
Yes.
What's the dust in? Who do you think took Lauren away?
I don't know.
Well, I need your help. Can you give me some, what is your observation of this? I know you're smarter, okay? I know you have an observation you can tell me. What do you think happened to her?
I think someone took her.
You think, I mean, you watch TV shows, right? Like
Yes.
detective shows. What's your observation? How do you think somebody would take her? If somebody did take her.
When she was running.
Does she normally run all the time?
She runs, I don't know how often.
You mean you think somebody might have took her when she was running like down the street somewhere?
Yes.
You don't think somebody got her when she got back to her apartment?
I don't know.
Well, you know there was a body found in the trash can next to the apartments.
Yes.
You do know that. And it's a female, white female's body. Right there. Right next to y'all's apartment. Feet from her apartment. I mean, we don't know 100% sure it's Lauren, but we're pretty confident it is. We're waiting for some tests to be done to be 100% sure. I mean, who would do something to somebody and throw them in a trash can?
I don't know.
I'm asking for your advice or your observation. Who in your complex would do something like that? You live over there for 3 years. Tonight's the first night I think I've ever been over there. In your expert opinion, of all your knowledge of going through law school and all that, who in that complex do I need to talk to?
I don't know.
No names come to mind. You can't help me out a little bit? You can't help me out?
I don't know.
You don't know anybody? At all? That lives in that complex? You know, earlier you told me about a guy that lived in apartment 15. I mean, is he a decent guy?
I think so.
Don't y'all have a laundry room there or something?
Yes.
That everybody has access to the laundry room?
Yes.
Has anybody been working on the apartments below you in the last couple of weeks that you've noticed?
I haven't seen anyone.
But you don't know if they've been doing work on that apartment, number one?
No.
I mean, earlier today, me and you sit here and talk normal. What's going on with you now? Why are you acting like this? I need to know. Why all of a sudden you're acting like this?
I don't understand.
Okay. Earlier today, we sat here and talked. But now you're acting like you don't know what's going on. I mean, did something happen or something to you? I mean, why are you shutting down? Why are you not talking to me?
I don't know.
You don't know? Are you scared?
No.
I mean, you're not scared, are you?
No.
Are you sad that something happened to Lauren? If that's her in that trash can?
Yes.
When's the last time you said you can't remember the last time earlier today that you took the trash out to the trash can? Right? Am I wrong?
That's right.
I mean, because you said you stayed inside the whole weekend, I think, because you had all your food and all that. You never went to Kroger over the weekend or Walmart or anything?
I don't remember.
Bet you could have.
I don't know.
When you go to Kroger, when you do go to the store to get your food, do you use a credit card or you pay cash?
Cash?
Do you have a Kroger card?
Yes.
Okay. So the Kroger card should be able to tell if you were at Kroger this weekend, right?
Yes.
Do you swipe your card or just enter your cell phone number?
They scan it.
No, because I enter my phone number because I can't never remember to bring my card. But you don't remember if you went over to bank. You drive your car or you walk over there?
I drive.
You ever go to Walmart on the east side of Gray Highway? Or which Walmart do you go to when you go to Walmart?
Gray Highway.
You don't ever go out to Zeppelin Road?
I don't think so.
You never been out there? You know where Zeppelin Road, the new Walmart?
No.
You don't? So you just basically go to the one on Gray Highway?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know where you're at tonight?
Yes.
Where are you at?
Detective Bureau.
Okay. And you know why we've been working all day trying to find Lauren, right?
Yes.
Because her family wants to know where she's at.
Yes.
And I don't know what to tell her family. So I'm asking you, what do I need to tell her family?
I don't know.
What do you want me to tell them? I don't know? Huh? You're going to have to tell me what to tell her family. It's all on you, brother. What do you want me to tell her family? Huh?
I don't know.
Well, I need to know. I need to know. Okay. If something happened to Lauren and you know, you need to tell me. If you know something. Because I need to know. Because her family's down here wanting to know what happened to her.
I don't know.
You don't know.
No.
That's what you want me to tell her mother and her father. Is that you don't know.
I don't know.
Not that you're sorry that she's missing. Not that you've been trying to help me all day find her, but you just wanted me to tell her I don't know.
I don't know.
Are you a sorry piece of shit that you want me to tell her that? You got your ass on that fucking news and stood out there and gave a media report that her mother saw about her missing daughter. And you want me to sit there and tell them that you don't know? Is that what you want me to tell them? Because you're all over the news. You sure stood out there and ran your mouth to the news media. But now you're gonna get out here and you don't fucking know. You know. You're just a sorry piece of shit that don't give a fuck. Right?
No.
Well, why'd you tell the media everything? Do you need to see what you told the media today? It was on the 11 o'clock news. Well, I'm asking you. Tell me. I want to know.
I don't know where she is.
That ain't what you told the media. You didn't stand in front of that camera and say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Right? You buy all these weapons. Was you ever in the military?
No.
What do you need all these weapons for? Are you scared somebody's gonna hurt you?
No.
What do you need all these weapons for?
To have.
Why? There's a reason why. Were you molested as a child?
No.
Then why do you need all these weapons?
To have.
Why? Give me one good reason. Just give me one reason.
To have.
Why? Does it make you feel important?
No.
Are you a big guy because you got a weapon?
No.
Do you even know how to use it?
Yes.
I need you to tell me what you want me to tell her mother. And then I won't ask you another thing. I'm not going to tell her mother that you don't know, because her mother saw you on the news tonight. And she cried all the way down to Macon. Because you had the balls to get on the news and tell everybody everything. You didn't have no problem talking to the news when they asked you questions. I'm asking you questions. Where's Lauren?
I don't know.
Yes, you do know. You do know. You do know. You know. You know. You do know. And everybody in Macon knows you knows because you got your sorry ass on the news and told everybody. So every friend you have in Macon knows that you know. Everybody you go to school with, every one of your professors, everybody knows that you know. Because you got on the news tonight and told everybody that you know. Now, how do you think? You think you're gonna be able to walk down the street tomorrow and nobody bother you? Think nobody's gonna come over and knock on your door to see if you want to talk to the media again?
I don't know.
Oh, they're gonna be over there, brother. So this little act that you're doing right now ain't working with me. Okay? Because you didn't have no problem talking to the media. No problem. So you can just snap out of it and tell me what the hell happened so we can move on.
I don't know.
Well, how many times you gonna say I don't know? How many times you gonna say it? When are you gonna say I remember, but I don't want to remember what happened to her? How many times you gonna say that? If you did something that you regret, you need to let me know.
I didn't.
Well, who did?
I don't know.
Well, a body was found over here, right next to where you live. And what do you have in your apartments? A lot of knives. A lot of guns. Right?
Yes.
asking you about it, and you're just saying, I don't know. That's all. That's the only answer you can give is I don't know. It's 6 hours or a couple hours ago, you was out there telling the media everything. You didn't stand in front of that camera and say, I don't know. You were actually answering questions. Right? How many interviews did you give? 3?
I don't know.
Well, you gave like 3. Do you think that was the proper thing to do when a mother's looking for her child?
They asked me what happened.
And what did you tell them? What did you tell them?
That Lauren was missing.
Okay. What else did you tell them?
That we had gone looking for her.
So yeah, man, this dude right here is fucked up, man. The girl wasn't nothing but nice to him, man. Try to get him some friends, try to get him outside. He ain't do nothing but turn that shit into evil, heinous, sick, twisted shit in his head that he had to fulfill. So it was like, man, you just gotta be careful about who you trying to be friends with. Just want to go back to that. Because looking for a friend can cost you your life. Y'all like, subscribe to all that YouTube shit, man. I might come back and finish this interview up maybe a little later on.